My name is Rupert Wieloch and I'm looking forward to speaking in the Authors' Pavilion at the War and Peace Revival. I'll be talking about my new book covering the British Army's campaign in Siberia at the end of World War I and the incredible story of 15 soldiers ordered to remain to the last in Omsk. After saving the lives of hundreds of thousands of fleeing families, they managed to escape on the last train out of the city before it was seized on the 13th of November 1919. They witnessed the tragedy that ensued, with millions of desperate refugees dying in the harsh Siberian winter. When the railway became blocked, they travelled on droshki through the forests in temperatures below 40 degrees centigrade. One of the private soldiers suffered severe frostbite, but with some goose fat and pimui, his feet were saved from gangrene. Eventually they were captured on Russian Christmas Eve at Krasnoyarsk. Conditions in the town were appalling. Accommodation was derelict, food was scarce, prisoners were executed frequently, and horses were left to die in the streets from neglect. Whilst they waited for news, 2 of them succumbed to typhus after they were put in a lice-ridden carriage at the station. Meanwhile in London, the prisoners became a severe inconvenience to the Prime Minister, David Lloyd George, after he had announced that all the British troops were out of Russia. Using secret Cabinet Office documents that have really recently been released, I will explain how Lloyd George spent a disproportionate amount of his time on their case. He agreed to Lenin's conditions for a mass prison exchange. However, when trade negotiations stalled, the soldiers were deceived in Irkutsk and sent 3,000 miles to the headquarters of the secret police in Lubyanka Square. In the Soviet capital, they experienced an agonizing incarceration on starvation rations, with some of them tortured by the infamous Checker. Visiting British delegations ignored them, but a few MPs heard about their plight and confronted the Prime Minister in the House of Commons. Using evidence from Hansard and the Cabinet Office, I explain how the group became pivotal in the government's decision to reopen trade with Soviet Russia. Finally, they are exchanged and returned to England via Finland and Denmark. When they arrive at Harwich, the government tries to suppress news about them, but they slip the net and give up the press a briefing at King's Cross Station. The book is fundamentally an extraordinary adventure of human survival against the overwhelming odds of typhus, torture, and temperatures below 40 degrees centigrade. It is about strength through adversity, dealing with fear and oppressive stress, through the rescue and care of a much-loved dog, the construction of a theatre and performance of concerts, and the earliest recorded international soccer matches in Soviet Russia. Other themes cover women in war and humanitarian aspects. The bravery of Red Cross nurses is highlighted, along with the contentious issue of soldiers marrying Russian girls and several examples of female mental fortitude. I'm also able to reveal for the first time the name of the British agent with Admiral Kolchak at his execution, and 2 other stories of secret agents working for MI6 in its early days. My first talk is on Tuesday the 24th of July, and I hope that you can join me then.